I watched it eat him from the inside out until he just couldn't take it anymore and broke up with her. What things should you keep private from your significant other, no matter how healthy your relationship is? Which of your friends or family members don't like your significant other? It will do nothing but upset them, and worse, create a bigger problem between them. After all, just because someone doesn't like your partner, it doesn't mean they aren't right for you. Not everyone is going to like everyone. Some people don't like people just because. I would also like to add that if one of your friends or family members don't like your significant other and you aren't at the very least making them be polite and respectful when they have to be around each other, you are the main problem in that scenario. Thinking about it, just don't vent to your family about your significant other. I see people do this all the time and then wonder why their family always dislikes their partners. Journals. My partner writes in one every night before bed and I have no idea what any of it says. If she wants to share with me, she can. Those are her private thoughts and feelings until she decides differently. Same goes for me. My parents read my journal when I was a kid. My mom wrote back to me in my journal, telling me I was lucky I had a place to live and lucky I had food to eat. She told me my stepdad read my journal too and I hurt him. The things I wrote were me being angry and sad because I was hurt by both of them. It was really rough stuff in there. I think I recall multiple hints that I wanted to take my own life but was told I was doing it for attention. Yes, I wrote in a private journal for her to snoop through my things and read it. That's just how I communicate now. It's not that it should be kept private, as in forcefully, but I believe both persons in a relationship should have privacy in their devices. My significant other has all my logins and passcodes for my phone and tablet, but this doesn't give her the right to go snooping for stuff that will never be there. She can totally grab my phone, if it's nearest, to search on Google, or grab someone's phone number. But we've agreed that if either of us snoop, you better be sure that there's going to be something to find, because if there isn't, then you deserve the trouble that you've caused. Things you aren't ready to talk about yet. I have a lot of trauma and I'm not always ready to talk or explain. However, I'm lucky my partner respects that and has let me open up at my own pace. Very early on in my relationship, we had been FaceTiming and the topic of trauma came up. He said, "You know, I've had something really traumatic happen to me, and I've told only 2 people in my life. One being my ex-wife, who essentially bullied it out of me. And I never told her the whole story because I didn't feel safe. But I feel compelled to tell you about it. I want to tell you. Can I hang up and message it to you?" And that's what he did. And I have never felt so privileged and trusted. I think that might have been when I started falling in love with him. In every aspect of a relationship, if they want to, they will. My ex-wife used to interrogate me after every therapy session I had. It made therapy stressful for me, which isn't really supposed to be the point. It was worse because I do therapy online, so I do it through telehealth. My ex was almost always in the house during my sessions and I have a hard time believing she wasn't listening in. Things that you don't physically like about them. They just don't need to know. If you are concerned about their health or hygiene, that warrants a conversation, but making comments about physical flaws, completely unnecessary. My ex used to always make little jabs about my appearance. I think he thought that those were things I didn't realize were wrong with me and that I would correct them if they were brought to my attention. Every single comment is burned in my brain and did nothing but make me more self-conscious. My current partner never ever makes negative comments about my body. And when I point out my own flaws, he always spins them into something charming and unique about me. It's really nice. If your relationship started under potentially offensive pretenses, for example if they were madly in love with you but you were just their rebound. An old friend of mine's girlfriend told him this. I was there when it happened, and I swear to God I saw his heart break. They were really good together and really liked each other, so he tried to keep going, but I watched it eat him from the inside out until he just couldn't take it anymore and broke up with her. There really are some things you just can't take back. This is a really subjective answer, and I'm sure people will disagree, but, for me, bathroom time. I have 3 kids and one of them is my full-time responsibility as her mom isn't around. I live and breathe for my kids and I love them, but doing my morning and evening bathroom events I really love the solitude. The last few women I dated were great, but they would just kind of barge in no matter what I was doing. To me, showering at the end of the day, brushing my teeth, using the toilet are all kind of zen for me. I just don't like sharing a shower or being interrupted while doing so. Where your secret stash of band-aids is. I don't know about the rest of you, but my wife and kids will go through an industrial-size case of band-aids faster than you can say supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, and that twice a year I actually need one. They're never there. This goes for scissors as well. We have 3 kids and, for whatever reason, anytime any one of them uses scissors, the scissors just vanish forever. I did an experiment once where, for 5 weeks, I bought 2 new pairs every time I did my weekly grocery shopping and simply put them where our scissors are supposed to be whenever I saw that there were no scissors there. To this day, I haven't seen any of those 10 scissors since, so I keep a secret pair on top of the fridge for my own use only. The unkind thoughts you have when you're angry and tired will never help if you say them out loud. Even if you don't have a big fight or break up over it, you'll still regret it and they'll still remember. This may also include what you think about how attractive other people are, depending on how jealous or insecure your significant other is. It is important to protect the person you love most from the worst of yourself. Somebody replied, I am attempting to obey the rule don't trust any strong feeling about your life after 9 p.m, because I have a few mental disorders and am also a sleepy bitch. The cruelest thoughts I have are directed at myself, but it still hurts my spouse to hear them. Lately I have been checking the time before expressing them, so instead I can say fuck it's 11:26 p.m, nonsense hours. My brain is being mean to me and I need to go to sleep. 9 times out of 10, my mood issue resolves by the morning. Sometimes, no matter how attractive your partner is to you and no matter how much you love them, there is an aspect to them that is unchangeable but that you find gross or annoying or just generally less than attractive. Clogged nose pores, a laugh that sounds like a muppet, big toenails that just look a little bit weird, or that single long hair growing from inside their ear that just keeps coming back no matter what they do. If it's going to make them feel insecure or unloved, this is something you should just keep to yourself. In a relationship, you learn each other's weak points and vulnerabilities, and using them against your partner is a boundary that, once you cross it, you can't come back from. Once you make someone feel like they can't trust you with their vulnerable self, your relationship is on its way out. Somebody replied, I don't know if this is helpful for you, but something I learned in therapy helped me with boundaries. Basically, I reframed what a boundary is. We tend to think of them as lines that can't be crossed, like a literal boundary is. But an emotional boundary isn't a line, it's cause and effect. The words, and how do you take care of yourself, are burned into my brain, though it took embarrassingly long to understand them. A boundary is a statement of how you will take care of yourself. It's an if you, then I statement of what you have chosen to do when someone does the thing you're making a boundary about. For example, if you keep insulting me every time we talk on the phone, I will hang up on you. It needs to be something dependent on your behavior, because you can't control anything but yourself, and it needs to be something you follow through on every time. When I change my perspective to think of myself, how do I take care of myself when this happens, instead of thinking of the other person, no one can cross my boundaries except for me. It's also very helpful as a perspective in general for difficult interpersonal stuff. For example, it's not his fault that he's like that, or he's really sorry and trying to change turns into this is not okay, even if it's not anyone's fault. How can I take care of myself here? And has he taken actual action to fix the bad thing he did, and if he hasn't, is him feeling sorry more important than my well-being? I don't know your relationship or you, but I hope that whatever you end up doing, that you take care of yourself. And don't forget that actions speak louder than words. You know you're the pet's favorite person. No one deserves to be told such a thing. I am absolutely both of our dog's favorite person. We both know it, but I would never ever say that to my wife. If your significant other has been in a fight, don't ask about the details. In the unlikely event they want you to know, they'll tell you. This is not to say you should not encourage them to get the appropriate medical support, nor is this to say that you shouldn't know they've been in combat or listen to them if they experience emotions around it. However, seeking out the details are a red line of inquiry. My wife is sensitive about animals, so anytime I see or read some sort of tragedy related to an animal, I hide it from her. I have a steady supply of jokes. I set up my Android to send me a joke every night at 5 p.m. and I tell it to my husband later on, before I jump in the shower. He always asks where I'm getting this stuff from and I just laugh and shut the bathroom door. I would like him to continue thinking of me as this endless joke fairy for the rest of our lives. Doubts about their capabilities, if they have none themselves. My boyfriend is a go-getter, who is super enthusiastic and optimistic. I'm more analytical and cautious, but he doesn't need me to inject an element of doubt into things. Yes, I'll do anything to protect him, and I've been there for him when he has fallen in the past. But no, I won't tell him if I doubt he'll succeed at something he is attempting. I'll back him all the way, right or wrong. No matter how healthy a relationship is, there will always come a time when you have resentful thoughts about your spouse. Those should be kept to yourself, as most of them pass quickly. The only time you should share them is if they are persisting in some behavior that is hurting you, and then it should be done calmly and not in the heat of the moment. For instance, if you got home from work tired to find your spouse binge watching a TV show, but the sink is full of dirty dishes, the impulse may be to lace into them. Don't. Go ahead and do the dishes, and tomorrow, when that initial flash of anger has passed, discuss the issue. People say arguments can be healthy in a relationship, but it all comes down to how you argue. Spouses, at least if they're good ones, know intimate details about you, your past, and how you think and feel. This gives them weapons to hurt you, and it may be tempting to use such weapons when angry. But if you know your spouse has a sore spot about their dad, and you say in anger this is why your dad never loved you, you have permanently damaged your relationship. And that damage builds up over time. Successful relationships survive because people rein themselves in that moment. Even when they're angry, they don't want to inflict wounds like that. So whenever the impulse arises to use those weapons in anger, resist the temptation. You may forget what you did quickly, but they won't. Somebody replied, "Never go to bed angry is the worst advice." I'm so often angry for reasons that have nothing at all to do with my partner to begin with. Hormones, a bad day at work, I'm hungry, I'm actually mad at someone else who isn't at hand. Or, ding ding, I'm actually tired and need to go to bed. It doesn't solve anything to talk about it when I'm in the throes of anger or frustration. It is always better to wait until I can sort out my feelings, process which ones are appropriate and worthy of expressing, and then say them to my partner at the right moment. I'm not perfect, this is definitely something I'm still trying to improve on, but it's the best thing therapy taught me. It made me a better partner. Do you agree with any of these suggestions? Any of your own to add? Let the fellow couples of YouTube know in the comments below.